today's video, as you can see, I am back talking, yes, NBA playoff basketball. I know a lot of you guys wanted me to do some sort of basketball talking video, and I know in some of my previous videos I've done little tidbits of little playoff talk, but in today's video I really wanted to wait for it because I was planning on doing a NBA first round recap video, which, as you can see, is tonight's video. So in this video, I'm just going to be mostly talking about the first round, all the matchups, things that went on, surprising things that surprised me, disappointing things that really disappointed me, and just sort of talking about players and how they did, I guess. So make sure you guys sit back and relax. This is going to be more of a chill, soft-spoken video, so not super, with a bunch of triggers and whispering, just me sort of just rambling on. And maybe you can also contribute by commenting down below what you thought of the first round, the best matchups, the most surprising player, the MVP of the playoffs so far. Definitely let me know. And also, obviously, liking the video. If you do like the video, you guys have no idea how much liking the video helps out. Let's see. Let's try to get this video to 150 likes. Let's try to get this video to 150 likes. That'd be very much appreciated. And also, obviously, subscribe to the channel. Yes, I am doing a subscriber giveaway at 7.5k. We're nearly there, so make sure you guys jump on board for when that happens. Yeah, I think that's all I needed to say. So let's finally get started when talking about the crazy first round of the NBA playoffs. I think the first thing that really everyone wanted to talk about when talking about the playoffs this year is, I think, the new age of NBA basketball. We all know that crazy young stars in today's NBA are finally starting to break through. Most notably, obviously, Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. You have Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, even the great performance Jason Tatum put on with the Boston Celtics. You're starting to finally see, I don't want to say the passing of a torch to the new generation, but, the LeBron Jameses, the Steph Currys of the world. It's starting to get kind of rough for them, but these new up-and-coming players, like I just mentioned, it looks like they're finally starting to take over the league, and it's terrifying because it's different, but it's super exciting because these players are so fun to watch. I mean, you have guys putting up 40-point triple-double games, guys who look like they can score like 80 points in a game, totally taking over a fourth quarter of a game. These guys are cold-blooded, they're awesome, and they are the new future of the NBA. And I think probably every generation has gone through this, from, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki having to worry about, LeBron and Kevin Durant and those type of players, to now the new generation again, like Zion, Tatum, Trae Young. These guys, you can finally see, not even this entire season, but definitely in these playoffs, the young and up-and-coming players aren't young and up-and-coming anymore. These guys are here to stay and even are being battle-tested in this year's playoffs. But we'll get more into that later. I guess we can go through some of the more easier matchups that went on in the playoffs. Most notably the 1A matchup of Philly and the Wizards. That was an okay sort of playoff series. I really thought Philly could have given them a little bit more run up for their money. Obviously, with Washington not really having a big defensive presence to really stop Joel Embiid, or even a small ball lineup to even try to make it more tough for the 76ers, it was very rough to watch. I really thought the Wizards could have at least stolen maybe 2 games from this series, but it did end with Philly winning in 5. Kind of obvious, but the perimeter play of Philly's players like Simmons, Thibault, Danny Green, obviously those guys probably made it life really hard for Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, players like that. So it was a good matchup. Definitely Joel Embiid was the MVP of that round, even though he did get hurt. He's fine, obviously playing in the second round now against the Atlanta Hawks, which we'll go into later. Sorry for spoiling it, but he looks fine, even though he had an injury. Hopefully that doesn't really hurt him on later on for this 76ers playoff run. But yeah, definitely I feel like could have been a little bit more entertaining. I feel like Bradley Beal could have played a little bit better. I know he averaged, I think, 30 points per game this series, but again, probably could have done more. I think Russ probably could have done more. I know, oh my god, Russ did average a triple-double in the playoffs. Yes, I know that, but again, that doesn't really turn out to wins, so I think that probably would have been better. But yeah, Sixers, Wizards. Sixers move on to the second round. Then you have the 4-5 matchup of the Knicks and the Hawks. And I will say this, Knick fans out there, big-time media outlets out there, you guys really fooled me on the New York Knicks. Even at the start of the NBA season, I was pretty high on the Atlanta Hawks. I've always been a big fan of Trae Young and even John Collins as well. And even when seeing this matchup, like, I knew the Hawks had a good chance and were probably going to win, but like, I didn't want to say the Knicks would lose because I know there's so many Knicks fans out there, and like big time media outlets were saying the Knicks were going to win. Everyone was saying the Knicks were going to win, and I don't know why I said that too. But in my playoff predictions video, I did say the Knicks would win this round. But looking back at it, like, that was kind of dumb of me. I mean, I guess I did think that the Knicks defense were going to be a little bit better on Trae Young. I thought Trae Young was going to have a pretty struggle playing this series, but obviously didn't really look like that. And also the play of Julius Randle wasn't there, and no one really on the Knicks really stepped up to fill that number one option role. I think everyone played very passive. Everyone wanted to be a Robin when they were looking for a Batman, if that makes any sense. Yeah, the play of Trae Young really sort of catapulted the Atlanta Hawks team to this next level of a second round playoff team. And like I was talking about, you're really starting to see the next generation of NBA talent now with Trae Young. Man, he looks absolutely insane. I'm very excited to see what happens next with this team because, quite honestly, this team could make it to the conference finals, which is so crazy to think about that could even be a possibility. Could it be? Absolutely. It's just going to take a lot of work from Trae Young. I think Trae Young's going to have to average like 35 points per game, somewhere in between there, and also a lot of help from players like Bogdanovich and Danilo Gallinari, John Collins. Players like that are really going to have to step up, and the defensive capability of Clint Capella is also going to be very big in this playoff series. So if they play well, the Atlanta Hawks could find their way into the conference finals. But yeah, the Knicks are obviously just a stepping stone away from making a really big push. I think this year they definitely overachieved, but in the best way possible now. But obviously, of course, all you Knicks fans out there constantly tweeting at Damian Lillard, tweeting out Lillard in Knicks jersey saying, "Dame, come to New York." I hope y'all are good. Are you guys okay? Because you realize to get Damian Lillard, you would have to absolutely gut that team apart, like RJ, Obi, probably picks as well, a plethora of things to even get Damian Lillard. When Damian gets there, that team's going to be like 3 players, you know what I mean? So I don't think that's the best case scenario for you Knicks fans. I would say keep everything together, play through free agency, a disgruntled star somewhere like maybe Bradley Beal. Maybe if the Dallas Mavericks can't get it done with Luka in the next couple years, you can get Luka Doncic. I think they have a very big possibility of getting a bigger star than dismantling their team, getting Lillard, and then that's all they get. You know what I mean? We're on to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat playoff series. Man, I almost forget that this was even a playoff series because this was one of the most hyped up matchups of the entire playoffs. People were saying this was, the first game 7, the best matchup in the first round of the entire playoffs, this and that. And then it just didn't happen. I think it really came down to, the Milwaukee Bucks. They locked in on this series. They wanted this series so bad, and they did everything in their power to win. Hard play from Drew Holiday, hard play from Middleton. It really came down to the others of this playoff series, and then Giannis really just coasted his way through the series. I think he only averaged like 23 points per game. He was really just, skipping around, and then the Miami Heat just couldn't keep up with that sort of power, I guess you could say. And now the Miami Heat are known as just like the bubble guppies, which is super disrespectful. I feel like people are really downplaying their finals run. I thought it was really good. They obviously played really well. And it's so funny because all the people calling the Miami Heat like the bubble guppies are the same people who are saying, you know, this is the hardest finals matchup ever. LeBron's gonna get beat. Look at the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler's better than LeBron. This and that. All those people who are saying bubble guppies are the people who were hyping this team up so much to beat LeBron. And then when they lost, they're now the bubble guppies, which is super weird. That's just how like NBA Twitter is nowadays, I guess. Then we have the 2-7 matchup of the Nets and the Boston Celtics. Now again, very easy matchup for the Nets. Obviously, they're the Brooklyn Nets, winning the series 4-1. But that one game Boston won. Like I said, the up-and-coming stars are not up-and-coming anymore. Jason Tatum beat by himself, basically. Kevin Durant, Kyrie, James Harden, he willed the Celtics to a win. If you're a Boston Celtics fan without Jaylen Brown, that is very promising that your go-to guy can at least win you a game in a playoff series. That is amazing to see. So I think Boston, even though they did lose in the first round, they had a very down season. I feel like are in a very good spot. I feel like they're just a piece away from really making themselves a true title contender. At the beginning of this year, they were, because everyone was very high on the play of Kemba Walker. Obviously, seeing this, Kemba probably shouldn't even be on the team. If they had to buy Kemba Walker out, I think they should. But I think obviously a trade involving Kemba for maybe a center would be the best case scenario. Or again, Damian Lillard has been in talks a lot with the Boston Celtics sort of trade bubble. And hey, I mean, a dynamic duo of Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard, that could possibly win you a title in the next 2-3 years. Because obviously Damian, 30 years old, he still has a good 3-ish years of true prime NBA basketball. You have Jason Tatum, who's just barely hitting his rise and his prime. You give them like a year or two with a good roster, that's definitely a title contender. You trade Damian Lillard for Jaylen Brown, maybe a couple picks, maybe a small little role player. That might be kind of worth it if you're a Boston Celtics fan, even for Portland. If Damian Lillard just, demands a trade, that's a great trade to go for. You're trading an all-star for an all-star. And obviously talking about the Nets, we don't really need to talk about the Nets. The Nets are fine. The Nets are great. Even though James Harden is now injured, which a lot of people are saying, oh, he's injured. They just want to rest one of their stars until, they hit the NBA Finals. Then all of a sudden, the Brooklyn Nets look like they never got injured before a day in their life, and they just steamroll 4-0 sweep the NBA Finals, which is a very big possibility. But I think the Nets are fine, even without James Harden. They're probably going to win their next couple series in 4 or 5 games. Over to the Western Conference, you have the round of, the series of the Utah Jazz and Memphis Grizzlies. Again, another up-and-coming team with the Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant. Ja Morant looks really good, man. If Ja Morant can just get a consistent jump shot, man, that guy is going to be a cold-blooded killer in today's NBA with great inside play, great perimeter defense. If he gets a consistent 30-35% three-point shot, he's going to be a very dangerous player, that's for sure. But they did lose 4-1 against Utah. And I think Utah is looking really good. That crowd in Utah is disturbingly loud. Donovan Mitchell's playing at a great height right now. And same thing with Rudy Gobert. I'm very happy to see what he's been doing on that team, being a 17, 15 point per game scorer, but also keeping up with his defensive play, rebounding the ball really well. I'm very excited to see what he does in the next round. And also the others of Bogdanovich, Clarkson still playing that great 6-man role. Mike Conley being a knockdown 3-point shooter for that team. I never would have seen the day, but he's looking really good. That team's looking great. They're playing very well together. Just how that plays against true competition. No offense to the Memphis Grizzlies, but we'll see how that is. Let's move on to the 3-6 matchup of the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers. If you guys didn't see, I did make a Portland Trailblazers specific video a couple nights ago talking about the series and the future of Portland because, yes, the Blazers lost 4-2. And in that video, if you didn't watch all of it, I did discuss that. I did say in my playoff predictions video, it wouldn't surprise me if the Blazers lost. And it didn't surprise me that the Blazers lost. What really surprised me that series was that Damian Lillard had one of the best playoff performances we have seen in the past couple years from any player. The dude tied, or I think even broke, the 3-point record for an NBA playoff game. He scored over 50 points. He was basically shooting crazy 3-point shots to ask and beg the Blazers to do something to help him. And the rest of the Blazers players sat there and watched this man try to win them a game. I hated it. And it's one of like the biggest things I've took away from the season is that this team really is just Damian Lillard. Sure, you have CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum has turned into a 15 point per game scorer. That's good, but for that to be your B option, your second go-to guy, dude, I've been saying this for years. You guys have known this. I've been on the CJ McCollum trade for years. CJ, in his entire career, has had one good playoff series, and even that, he had one really good Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets 2 years ago. And I think the Blazers front office has just been reminded of that one moment of CJ, and not just CJ being a 20-point per game ball handler. You know, there's a plethora of 20-point per game ball handlers. I don't know why they're making this man out to see that he's some sort of all-star, $30 million player. I don't see that, and I never have seen that. In my opinion, I would have rather have kept Gary Trent Jr., promised him a starting 2-guard role with a big pay increase, and traded CJ McCollum at the trade deadline, than having to go through all this, losing a bunch of options. And now Norman Powell is probably going to leave. You're going to have to trade CJ. This team is not looking great right now. And obviously with Damian Lillard, we don't know his future. It's nice to know Damian's in that sort of coaching lookout team for Portland. But it's already came out that he wants Jason Kidd. But Jason Kidd has already announced he doesn't want to be there. So if Chauncey Billups, who is his second option, also doesn't want to be there because he does play in Portland, it might be bye-bye for Damian Lillard. And Denver played a great series. There are others really played a great series, like Rivers, Campazzo, Michael Porter Jr. did what he said he was going to do, and he was going to step up, and he stepped up. No one else from Portland stepped up, and it was pretty obvious to see that. So the MVP in Jokic played like the MVP that he is, and I'm very excited to see this team in the second round. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Then you have Phoenix and LA. Obviously, that was a great series as well for a Phoenix Suns fan. If you're a Laker fan, you're probably vomiting this entire season because of all the injuries. Man, the injuries really hurt the Lakers this year. And if I'm being completely honest, it's probably a good thing that they lost in the first round. It really would have sucked to see this team make it to a conference finals and lose to the Clippers, or NBA finals just to lose to the Nets. I'm very happy that they probably lost in the first round. They made it to the playoffs after a very buggy season, and next season they have all this rest from just having a great finals run like 2 months earlier before the season even started. LeBron gets rest, AD gets rest. They get to sort of fine-tune this roster a little bit better than the sort of rushed off-season the Lakers had at the beginning of this year. Next year the Lakers will be a lot better, hopefully, but it was whatever. But you have to give Phoenix props. Devin Booker, again, up-and-coming player that's not so up-and-coming anymore, has really started to take over, and Denver is really going to have to look out for this kid because Devin Booker is on a mission. Chris Paul on a mission. Monty Williams really has the squad playing so well together. Phoenix might be looking like they're on the way to NBA Finals, it seems. And the last series of the playoffs for the first round were the Mavericks and Clippers, and yes, this was, in my opinion, the best series of the entire first round. And holy cow, the play of Luka Doncic is just, it's he definitely has now a firm ballot in being the best player in the world right now. Like him, Giannis, even LeBron, Curry, Giannis, even the MVP Jokic. He's in that conversation where you can definitely argue him being the best player in the entire NBA from how he plays. It was a great series to watch, and I think Luka probably even deserved to win that series just by himself. They definitely had a chance in Game 6, and I felt like that was their only chance. If this went 7, I think the playoff veteran leadership that the Clippers have, obviously with Rondo, Leonard, that team was going to win no matter what. If they did go to 7, Game 6 was the Mavericks' last shot. They really blew it. Not only because Luka, you could tell, was just so tired after the end of games and fourth quarters. He just couldn't close out the games. And obviously your second go-to option in Porzingis was more of like a fifth option. That dude was just a corner three-point shooter the entire series. It was sucky to see. They really need to move on from Kristaps Porzingis. Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. looks like he can be a starter for any NBA team. That dude is a 3-and-D scoring guard, pulling out buckets out of his butt most of the time. Like, he's looking really good. So I think that team just really needs to add again more playoff veteran leadership with Luka, and Luka really needs to find a second go-to option. You know, maybe it's a Portland trade of CJ McCollum for Porzingis. Maybe it's somehow you can try to get Bradley Beal on that team. Something crazy like that. I think that's what Dallas really needs. If not, like I said, in a year or two, if Luka's just another first round out the next 2 years, you know, New York might look like a pretty option. But yeah, the Clippers had a very struggling first couple games of the series, obviously being down 0-2. I think they're really starting to find themselves now, and I think this Game 7 might have actually helped them out a lot, because now they're looking at the Utah Jazz, and no offense to Utah, but that Dallas Mavericks team really pushed the Clippers to their peak, and I think right now the Clippers are on a rolling point right now. So unless the rest of Utah was really a beneficial thing for them, the Clippers might blow by the Utah Jazz, and it looks like that is going to be the entire first round. It was a very fun first round. Could have been a lot better, yes, but I think some series were really fun to watch. But now, the second round of the playoffs, obviously you have the Sixers against the Nets, the Sixers against the Hawks, the Bucks against the Nets, Utah against the Clippers, and Phoenix against Denver. If you're asking me, the Hawks are leading the series right now, 1-0, and I think Philly will pick it up. I'm still going to say that the Sixers win. I think they're too good and have too much leadership and too much veterans on that team. They'll just let this young and up-and-coming Atlanta Hawks team smoke them. I'm going to pick Philly in 6. I think Philly will win Game 2, and I think that extra rest that Joel Embiid is going to get is really going to help out this team a lot. I still say Philly wins. Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the last shot of a team beating Brooklyn. I think the matchups and everything are there for the Bucks to win, and it is very possible for them to win, but I'm still going to take the Nets. I think the Nets are still too good. Even without James Harden, that team looked like it was unbeatable, especially with the upplay of Blake Griffin and all the others of the team. It's going to be very tough for Milwaukee, so I'm still going to pick to win. In the West, you have Utah and the Clippers. Again, I'm picking the Clippers. The Clippers have been at the start of this playoff series, playoff round, my pick of a team to make it all the way to the finals, and I think they still are, even more now that the Lakers and Portland and all those teams are gone. I think the Clippers are still the best team in the West. I'm picking to win this series. And then we have the Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets. Again, a series just like Portland. If Chris Paul or Booker, either one of them has an off series, if the others of the Phoenix Suns don't play just like the others of Portland, Denver could find themselves in a very similar point of view. They just need to basically do the exact same thing they did with Portland, and if it works out, the Nuggets could find a way to another conference finals for, I think, 2 years in a row, which is crazy to think about. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Nuggets won, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Devin Booker, who again is playing on a monstrous role. And I'm not comparing Chris Paul to CJ McCollum at all. Chris Paul is head and shoulders above CJ McCollum. Chris Paul will show up. I'm gonna give this series to the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns still. So in the conference finals, I have the Phoenix Suns against the Clippers, and then in the East, I have the Nets and the Sixers. I still have the Nets making the finals. I still have the Clippers making the finals, and I still have the Nets winning it all. So I guess that's gonna be it for me. That's a little update to the playoffs. I hope you guys enjoy this more chill back, soft-spoken video. Again, make sure you like the video if you do like the video, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night, or whenever you're watching this video, and I will see you again in my next video very, 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 very soon. Alright guys, bye.